Unmuted.
Okay.
Kevin, you got
None here.
anything? Huh?
I have none.
Neither do I. Okay, we got quite a few minutes again. Thanks to Kelly, and thank you for getting them in the packet, Tina. And I believe we've got, is there 6? I can't remember. 4 of them. That's right, there's 4. So do we have a motion to accept those minutes?
I would move to approve the minutes of December 8th, December 9th, November 18th, and November 30th.
A second.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes from December 8th, December 9th, November 13th. And what was the date on the last one I missed?
November 18th and 30th.
18th and 30th, I'm sorry, 18th and 30th. Okay. All right, any discussion? They look pretty good. I learned a lot of what we did there. They must have been okay. They were good. They were a good set of minutes. Any other comments? Anybody, public? I guess we don't have to worry about that. All right, all in favor, say aye. Commissioner Flower.
Aye.
Commissioner Day.
Aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay, let's walk through some whatever significant items the commissioner has. Let's start with you, Tom.
Not a lot since our last meeting, really. Yesterday I did attend the planning and zoning or the planning commission hearing on 2 special use permits. One was a presentation on Sanderson special use permits, which was postponed. And the other one was on Westcliff Meats modification of an SUP. So
What was postponed?
Sanderson request for an SUP. So set through that. That's really about it for any substantial activities.
You were able to take our PIO around also?
I did, yes. Yeah.
And I think we all had a nice chat with it too.
Did not get over to public health. We didn't go into the search and rescue building either, but
Get out to the airport?
no. No.
Or the landfill.
Went to the landfill, yeah. So
Okay, great. Kevin?
Short list here as well. I guess we all attended our meeting Friday evening. And then I've been in touch with Gary at the Road and Bridge, and I won't go into that too much. I think he's bringing information to us today on the TV towers. So that'll take place. I haven't been able to make contact yet with CDOT in regards to if we do something about Jake breaks or anything and around what more about signage or anything there. So that's still in the works.
Okay, good. That it?
That will be it.
Okay, I just have a couple items, attended the same meetings, of course, but point on the STR meeting, we are planning as commissioners to consolidate our points from that meeting and get them to the planning commission still. And we're going to get it to them tomorrow. Is that what we agreed to get it to Tina to get our list together and forward it? Is that what we agreed? Or do we want to do that?
I wasn't aware that we selected a date.
Well, let's talk about, we could talk about it now, to give it to her. I guess that was the point of discussion to bring it up. So, I've got several things that I thought were points that we ought to have them address. And I know each of you did, right? Couple. And so we could get a note from us to Vic Barnes, the head of the commission, and hand them a consolidated list. That would be one list that we all agreed to, because I might not have items that you guys do, and we might have things that overlap, and let's make it easy for Vic. So you want to, how much time do you need to get them written down? Get it to them by Friday?
Yeah, that's fine. We want to do it individually, right?
Right, we'll do it individually, give them to Tina.
Oh, give them to Tina.
And that way she can give a consolidated list of everything as one list, so it's not going back and forth. Make it a little easier for him. Friday, okay? Then we could
Yeah,
take a
do we
look.
want to do that
Well, that way we can see.
do it individually and then get back together as a group? What if I don't agree with something,
Well, I
or
don't know,
two of
that's-
us don't agree with something? That,
But that's the point.
I think we need to meet
We
as
could
a
see all
group
of them, can
maybe once
to get a consolidated list.
email that back to us and then we
That's,
can.
yeah, let's coordinate it.
Yes, I think we need to come together as a group so that we have,
Right. No,
A list to
agree.
give to him,
That's a
yeah.
good step to make sure we do get them back. That's a given. So, all right, so let's,
Would
what's,
that be a workshop then?
no, it's just because we know it's not something that's a public meeting. It's just we're taking the comments and we will consolidate them to give to them.
Okay.
And so is that enough time to coordinate, you think?
Yeah. I mean, we have a workshop scheduled for Thursday,
Yeah, and that was for,
so we could do it at the end.
we could bring it up
As
then.
soon as we get done with broadband stuff, then all we gotta do is just add it to the agenda of
Yeah.
that workshop.
That's easy.
And we could just have I would guess, a 15-minute conversation and.
Sure. That saves doing it on the,
all of it.
on the phone. It's easier on the email. All right, I'm all for that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Thursday then.
What time is that workshop?
It's at 2:30.
And that's one for the towers?
That is for the BOCC workshop for our Band 6 tower.
Yeah. Good.
So we can
That's
just add
perfect
on the
time.
agenda discussion of.
Questions for the planning commission, STR questions.
And then for clarification, then since we're going to be meeting as a unit, are we just bringing our individual lists or are we turning them in beforehand as
No,
well?
we're going to give them to her and then she'll give us this
Beforehand.
consolidated list and we can just go boom, boom.
Okay.
through.
So a question for you then, Tina, at what point do you want our lists?
As soon as possible.
Okay,
Anytime
Fair enough.
before noon on Thursday.
preferably before that.
Yeah, preferably before that, so you guys can review it all.
Right, we'll have the list and we'll take it into the meeting. Good. VSO interviews, we've got that. The question I had is, we've all got the packets. And the only question I had on that is, do we want to interview? In the past, we've narrowed it down to the top 3 or so. Do we want to continue to do that? Or do we want to interview all of them regardless? Got a preference?
Was this on the agenda for tomorrow or no?
No, when we're going to do that on the
No, I mean
Thursday,
the discussion of that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
The interviews are the 19th.
Right. So all I'm asking is, who are we interviewing? We can narrow the list down like we have in the past with our
What do we have, 4?
review. There's 4 now.
Yeah, we have 4 applicants.
So just a thought, we can take a hard look. If you've already reviewed the resumes of the 4 candidates, we can either decide to do all 4 of them in that time on the Friday. Is it Friday the 19th?
Friday the 19th.
Yeah, I think we just interview all 4 of them.
There's not that many like we've been. Good enough with you, Kevin?
I'm good with that.
Let's just do that. You got the schedule already ironed out for that?
Yeah.
So we're good.
What time does it start?
Starts at, the meeting starts at 8 for the commissioners to,
Okay.
and the first interview's at 9.
Mhm. And we're ending that and then going into a session to select it right after
that's
that.
at
And that
3:30.
starts at
That starts at
3:30.
3:30.
So 9, 10, 15.
Mhm.
And then 1.
Yeah, she's got a note there.
And then I think it was 2:15.
Yep.
I see on the agenda for tomorrow, we have consideration to consolidate the BOCC changes to the zoning resolution and submit to planning and zoning.
Okay. I guess we made that when we adjourned that other one, didn't we? So we can probably amend that tomorrow.
Okay.
We can just eliminate it. Or we don't have time to do it now, probably. I don't know, it's 9:15. It's just, we'll just take care of that tomorrow. That's good. We did it now. That's good. All right. See if I had anything else. That's all I had to bring up. So thanks. All right, Mr. Attorney, I think you've got a couple items.
I do, first of all, from the meeting about STRs on Friday, I did send you out just a short note about insurance, that STRs generally have to have separate STR insurance. Regular homeowners insurance isn't going to cover that. The question, I guess, for you is whether it's something you want to make as a condition of a granting a permit for an STR, that they have to have separate STR insurance.
So in order to make that decision, we would have to know what we're insuring against. It's a liability against the county for what would be our liability.
No, it's got nothing to do with the county. It's for the, the STR is for damage done to the property by the tenant, or
Right.
injuries to the short-term renter, or injuries to that, the short-term renters while they're on the property. But homeowners insurance, well, homeowners insurance will cover, an occasional guest of the property, but it's not going to cover regular tenants that are coming in. There's also landlord's insurance, which probably would cover STRs, but that's landlord insurance is generally for long-term rental, not for short-term. But anyway, there is an insurance issue that and I'm guessing, I think that the ones that have, do theirs through Airbnb and VRBO and everything, they're short-term, or there's insurance for short-term rentals as part of their agreement with those entities, those platforms. But there is a separate policy for that, so it's something to consider. I talked to Dennis Hunt yesterday. I actually had a question about whether doing closed workshops for interviews of applicants for jobs was appropriate. And he said, that's fine to do a closed workshop, publish it like you've been doing, and then come out of that before you make any decisions. So that's okay. But while we talked, he told me something about it, VSOs, that I did not know. That first of all,
Very good.
there's a statute that says you need to invite applicants, or not applicants, somebody from the local service organizations, VFW, American Legion, to sit in on these. And they don't get a vote, but they get to participate in the questioning and make recommendations to you. Then the final decision, of course, will be yours, but we haven't done that in the past. The other thing he told me that I wasn't aware of is that VSOs have to be reappointed every 2 years.
Wow.
By statute.
This is Dennis Hunt telling you this?
Yeah, and I looked up the statute afterwards, and that's correct.
What bizarre.
Luckily, it's sort of been happening by accident, but I think John's been here almost 3 years.
I think John was,
Yeah.
past the 2 years.
So he did
and
go past it.
I forget the name of the gentleman we had before. Tim. Yeah, Tim was here for a couple of years too.
Was he? I thought he, well, of course, on our term.
Yeah, and Tim had been around for a while before that.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's something to keep in mind, that whoever you appoint, we need to make a note somewhere that's going to have to be reviewed and either reappoint or appoint somebody else.
Right, that's a policy there. That's by statute.
That's statute.
Okay, so Dina, we're gonna have to make sure that we include with Donna an invitation to Ted Ballard, I think is the commander at the American
Ted
Legion.
Ballard.
And then I don't remember who's the VFW commander, to tell you the truth.
Hunt said by statute, we have to invite those people, or he was recommending?
No,
It's by
let me get
statute.
the statute here real quick. Give me a second to. Okay.
Which means we have to have the same questions, that we have to be careful of what they ask as well. We have to review it so that it conforms with the process.
Okay, 28-5-802. I talked about the qualifications. Shall have served in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard. Before such appointments shall be made, the Board of County Commissioners making such appointments shall have sought the advice and counsel of the chief officer of each post of the regularly established and existing veterans organizations of the county. I suppose it doesn't necessarily say they have to sit in on the interview process, but seeking the advice and counsel of the chief officer of each post, which would be VFW and American Legion.
It's like a letter of recommendation, maybe, Could do.
I think they,
or support, or
I'm not sure it isn't, he said, have them sit in.
he said that they could ask questions too. I wonder how he's deriving that.
Well, I guess if they said, I don't know that they necessarily have to, or have the right to ask questions. They don't have to sit in, but you could do the interviews and then seek the advice and counsel as
The
afterwards.
proposed,
It doesn't
top two.
specifically say that they participate in the interview process.
Well, I would think seeking means we reach out to them, whether they respond or not, it's up to them. I wouldn't mind inviting them to sit in. I'm not comfortable with them asking questions.
I'm not either.
And I don't see that that's a requirement. Maybe have them sit in and then they can give you their input after they.
That's the right way to do it. If we're gonna have them sit in.
And
The
then-
other way to do it would be to take the one that we recommend before we make the decision, have them give them their 2 cents worth that might impact.
Yeah, I would think we ask them,
Yeah.
who would you recommend and why, and then we take that into consideration.
Right.
So,
Such appointments shall be for the term of 2 years. At the expiration of such term, the Board of County Commissioners making the appointments may either appoint the president incumbent to the position, or may consider new applicants. So.
So it sort of sounds like we put them on the same list we do all the boards and other appointments things.
Exactly.
And then just review them every 2 years.
That's bizarre.
That's the easy way to remember that we're doing it.
So that was a unintended benefit of talking, because I was really just wanting to get his input about whether doing the interview process the way he'd been doing through closed workshops is acceptable. And he said, that's fine to do it that way.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. I appreciate
We
it.
could add him to our board appointments list.
Mhm.
It's weird that they call them appointments when it's a hired position, but
But you're appointing, instead of, I guess, you're still appointing them, I guess, and you're paying them to do it.
so would you want to reach out to those two
Yeah.
leaders and
I sure will.
invite them? I'm good with that. Invite them to the
I know.
interview process.
Ted had reached out already,
Yeah.
asking to be
Right, and
involved as
that's why I
well.
waited that to complete talking with him. And I asked Clint, or we discussed it a little bit, and I couldn't get a hold of him. I was gonna let Clint follow through. So yeah, let's, I'll talk to him, and then we'll go from there, get it on our list and start effective whenever we hire this, who the appointee would be, and that would be the term beginning to watch.
And the only other thing as an attorney item was I got a call from Vic Barnes this morning after the Sanderson application that was being considered by the Planning Commission. There was a request to postpone and continue it to another date, which was granted, but afterwards Vic realized there hadn't been a formal motion, and he hadn't had the vote at the Planning Commission. He was worried that there was a problem with that. I said it would have been better to do it that way, but nobody was prejudiced by the fact that
We argued
he
about it.
didn't follow the rules on that exactly. And I said, it's a nothing burger as far as I was concerned. There'll be another hearing, all the people that want to complain about it, and I guess there are a lot. We'll have a.
Why is that? Was that the reason they postponed it?
The reason given by the applicants asking for the postponement was that there was a lot of hostility on Facebook, apparently, that they were aware of. And
That they were or weren't?
they were, I mean, they just come to their attention that there's been a lot of comment through Facebook mostly. And I'm not sure why they wanted to postpone it, I guess.
Yeah, he claimed he didn't have sufficient time to defend the accusations made on Facebook.
Okay.
Makes
I talked to Vic a little bit after the meeting as well, and he could claim the same thing again next month, it's just.
It's his SUP, and he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, apparently there is some hostility, so anyway, that's all I have for attorney items.
Well, good. That's maybe it's the new tie look that's changed your whole outlook on life. Congratulations, right? Thanks.
I was just gonna report, I had to go to court in Pueblo yesterday.
Really?
You remember several months ago, a woman called you one morning trying to get a hold of me. She said she was she was my legal secretary from the mid-90s when you guys are probably all still in high school.
Yeah, we were kicking the cribs, slats out of our cribs.
And I thought, well, that's nice of reaching out. I should know better. When anybody I don't know, pass they're looking
Oh, you got
free legal service. I ended up going to court with her on a grandparent visitation thing, but it actually got postponed also because the attorney for the other side, his wife, tested positive for COVID.
oh, goodness.
He had quarantine, so I still have to go do that.
Darn it. Just-
Going back into
So
court
an extra
after
trip.
representing somebody, because for the last 14 years when I was there, I was on the bench, and that was easy. You never make mistakes when you're a judge, whatever you do.
That's what I would do. It's the right ruling.
But sitting there with the client having to deal with that, I don't want that. You guys are a handful.
Thank you. Thank you anyway.
Yeah.
Tina, you got something for us
I
today?
have nothing today.
All right, thanks. Okay, we got an opportunity. Who's out there in public land?
We have Dale Mullen, Jordan Benson, Reggie Foster Vernon, and Tom Flower.
Okay, so given that, let's, is there any comment from anybody in the public on anything that we don't have on the agenda or would like to have a discussion that might lead to something at a future date? Unmute if you do. Nobody. All right. Hearing none, let's move on to staff reports. Is
Brian Quinn.
Brian out there?
Yes, he is.
Come on in, Brian.
How are you?
Good. How you guys this morning?
Doing well. thank you.
Well, how about you?
Hanging in there, you know.
It's not windy, so it's a
Well,
lot.
it's not windy
You
today.
don't have to hang on as far.
No, it's nice out there this morning.
Good.
Things are normal for the most part.
Lots of your reports buzzing around this table, so
Oh, yeah.
we're ready.
You know, I think Tina wrapped up the grant for the recycling and it's got that sent out, so we'll see what happens there. Still only doing the cardboard, and then the Tenacious Unicorns are still doing their cans and aluminum cans and steel cans.
Hey, on that grant, what was the deadline? Was it
Today.
this month or Friday?
March 1st.
Oh, yesterday.
It was March 1st.
Yeah, Jenny submitted.
Yeah, I saw a note. It looked, and there's been no feedback. Who's going to get the feedback on that?
I don't know, probably me, I would assume.
Thank you, because we've got Bill and then we've got Brian.
Yeah, so,
So we'll know if they're,
she called me yesterday. I was out working on the compactor, so I didn't get a chance to talk to her.
Yeah.
So I'll call her
Okay.
today and find
Well, I
out.
think the contact person listed in the grant was
It's
Bill.
and you're on it.
Right.
But did you give both email addresses?
She listed you, and then I believe she also put Brian in
Okay,
there as well.
in case. All right.
I can look, but
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. The compact, we had to put an alternator in it yesterday. So that solved that problem, but we've got a fuel issue right now that we're trying to solve. Figure that out today, this morning when I get back out there. The financial assurance got sent to the state. And Jill Parisi, she sent me the approval letter. So that is taken care of for 2020. And I think that's about it. I did have a conversation with her regarding pit or trench E. If the expansion process isn't far enough along, we need to just keep piling trash on E, we can do that.
oh,
So if need be, we'll just start probably on the west end and just
Another
work
layer. Huh?
a 2-foot layer all the way back to the east, depending on where we're at with the expansion.
Yeah.
I know she talked to Rusty before about that. I just wanted to confirm with her. So
are we done with excavating trench E?
Yep. it's done.
So whatever, I was out there yesterday, whatever volume is left is it.
So basically now on the west end, you got the ramp that comes down.
Yeah.
So once we get enough trash on the south side of that, we'll build another ramp and then move all that dirt out with the loader. But as far as scraping, we're done with the scraper. So
For now.
for now.
What do you think the lifespan of E is?
Oh, man, I hope it's a year and a half, but it's gonna be tight. So,
Exactly what I told Reggie yesterday. I would guess a year and a half, maybe two, but the way things are going.
and hopefully Golder, I talked to Matt with Golder, probably a month ago, I guess it was, and he said he would try to get me something a little more in depth, in a month.
They
So-
got all the data they need, I thought.
So they dug all the holes that they needed to check the,
Get off the dime on it.
and then they, because of the funding issue, I guess it's not really an issue, but they basically put it on hold from November till probably the 1st of February. So they're gonna get back on track with it. So hopefully by the end of this year,
They will.
they will get something to the state. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about that yesterday. We just cannot afford to let this fall through the cracks,
No.
and so.
and I talked to Jill again about what the engineers might, there's gonna be 2 trenches, we think, to the east, and then the aerial fill, the first aerial fill. And I asked her about lining that aerial fill, and she said she doesn't know. She said it'll be up to the engineers, but she doesn't think it's gonna.
Possible though.
It could be possible.
Yeah.
So that's gonna change probably some, but she said it's probably not gonna need it, but she wasn't not in a position to make that
Yeah,
call. So.
Golder told us they were pretty sure we wouldn't have to. based
And
on-
I did not ask Matt that when I talked to him last, but I will
Just
Yeah.
next time.
say in a way like, I'm sure glad we don't have to.
Sure, yeah, they're gonna find that thing.
The area fill is gonna be located,
So basically due south of the old park to loader in that shop.
okay,
Just due south of that.
That whole valley that runs east, and west,
Yeah.
south of the.
So that's the first
The
area
big
fill.
pit.
And then the second area fill, it starts where that old house was down. I don't know if you knew where that was,
Mhm.
back below.
across the draw.
Foundation.
And then that whole area back below Road and Bridges pit and everything. I mean, that's
Really
all
probably down to that burn for
the shooting range.
shooting range, right?
No,
You think we can do that in 2 stages?
2.
3?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Depending on how they engineer it, yeah. But that won't be, I mean, that's gonna be years down the road.
now, future, when Road and Bridge is at the end of their life at the pit, is that something that is possible to expand to at that point?
That's a
or do we
good
know?
question. I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I just don't know where you get them cover.
All right. Well, we talked about getting the engineering done so we could permit the entire piece of property, including that
Right.
gravel pit.
So I don't know if the permit, once the expansion gets approved, if the permit will include Road and Bridges pit. I don't know. I'll have
That's
to
what we
look.
want it to do.
Yeah,
And if, that's why we don't want to cover up that pit until we know.
I'll have to look.
Yeah.
But the map that I got, the first map,
Just for the
it's
area
just
land.
to the aerial fills, not Road and Bridges.
Right. We talked about it. We need to probably formalize that
Right.
if we have to.
Yeah, that's already done. And just finding
Yeah.
something to cover with
It'd
is
be
the
crazy not to use it.
problem.
It might be really crazy not to use it.
Yeah, and the problem I see, and I know you're aware of this, doing an aerial landfill on trench E, if we have to, would be to keep stuff from blowing away.
Right.
So we may have to build up a berm on each side of that, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically where we're doing now, when you get up to the actual ground level, you're pretty much exposed as it is.
Yeah.
And you just got to do your best to sprinkle, dirt when that stuff comes out of there
Right.
and just contain it the best you can. But yeah, no, and there are some old screens out there that are pretty beat up, but I mean, that might be a possibility.
Catch
too.
screens.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
I know I've seen them before out there. I've seen them in other landfills.
They're
Portable
pretty,
where they can move them around depending on where
Yeah.
the ramp's at.
So you get a chance to cover it.
yeah, right. I mean, it always is an issue trying to wrangle the trash.
Still, it looks good. You guys are doing a
Yeah.
good job out there. Very clean. And
Appreciate that, yeah. So yeah, I think that's, kind of where we're at out there.
How's the cash flow going?
Yeah, I did not compare it to last year's, January, February, but I'm sure it's higher. So $28,000 already.
Yeah.
I mean,
clean.
you know,
The,
And the cubic yards is what gonna get us, you know.
Let me look and see if I can pull up last year's real quick.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's bizarre.
well, he's doing that, and that Unicorn Ranch cast, are they not going to reimburse us or pay for it?
Yeah, I don't know. I need to
What's
talk.
an agreement you
I
got?
need to talk to them. I need to talk to Joni too and find out what is going on with that. I think from my understanding is they were just trying to get whatever money they got for the recyclables
To make it.
to pay for their fuel.
Right.
And it basically is all that, and then the rest would go to the landfill. But I haven't sat down with them to find out,
Yeah, that,
you know,
talk with Joni.
if there are any funds,
So interestingly enough, January and February of last year was 318. So
More COVID
a
junk
couple
going on.
thousand less, but interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I've got, gentlemen. If you guys don't have any questions for me or
I
anything.
do actually.
I'm good. Go ahead, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you. So I read through the recycling grant that
Oh,
was
yeah.
submitted.
I
I
did
made
not.
the motion at a previous meeting for the BOCC to act as a fiscal agent for the grant. I did not know at the time, should have, but I didn't, that us passing that motion basically set in motion, if this grant gets funded, then we will be in the recycling business. There's no question about that. We're gonna hire somebody to man that FTE. The grant has included 17,000, I think, I could look, to cover part of the salary of that person. We will be paying the remainder of that salary.
17,000.
I believe I can look it up.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I just
So the
didn't
idea,
look down the road far enough, I
Right.
guess.
well, the idea was for the recyclables to pay,
Offset it.
so the cardboard already, I mean, last year, I think it was 9,000 something, just with cardboard. So that's gonna be the deciding factor after, if it does pass, right? We'll have that first year, we'll call it, to decide whether or not this thing is gonna,
Sure.
I mean, and I don't know if there was any language in that grant, saying that if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. I don't know.
But we can always use the cardboard cash instead of putting it in the general fund or whatever we've been.
Sure, yeah, that would be part of it, because
That's a lot of it.
that machine will do the cardboard as well, as the cans and all the other stuff.
Right.
So,
But regardless,
Even if they're
Yeah.
after the first year, we're gonna be on the hook.
Sure.
Because I'm sure, I was trying to look here, but I'm sure that grant, we're gonna have to maintain that equipment for a certain amount of time. I just didn't look down the road far enough. It's on,
and she asked, me to come up with my numbers as far as, so that the grant would cover, I can't remember what I came up with.
How much is the grant for? Rough.
Good question.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either, off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, you've got a good point, we are in the recycling business, and
So there are already with the paper.
yeah, the cardboard, the initial grant that got the vertical baler was a grant. It was a grant, and it was the same thing. It required a partial,
Right.
half-time employee. And that's how that worked. And I think it actually worked out, cardboard is a little.
yeah, you can't compare the two. Cardboard,
Not yet.
Easy.
Not yet.
has nothing to do with comparing that to glass and
Right.
Right.
It's
paper,
more,
slick paper. I mean, there's absolutely no market for that.
right.
Plastic, any of it. We know there's an established market for cardboard, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Kevin, you got a thought? Looked like you.
This
did.
17,000, is this grant calling for a part-time employee on that, or is it calling for full-time?
Full-time.
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 Full. Dennis is part-time now, and if the volume, I don't know what the volume is gonna be as far as the cans stuff. I mean, I kind of know because I've been out there with these trailers and stuff, but I mean,
It's not been huge.
yeah, and I don't know, I mean, once you make a bale of aluminum cans, how much it's
A
gonna weigh.
lot of different.
You know, how much money that's gonna generate, I don't know that yet. Same with steel cans. I mean,
So I just had my figures backwards. The grant request was for 23,900. And the in-kind match on our behalf, 17,600. So we're gonna have to come up with 17 grand if this deal flies.
Which we'll have to see where moving the cash flow out of the stuff we do already, what it can do.
yeah, I
Back it with the general.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to panic yet, but
right, no, I get the same
it's gonna
feeling.
be way too late when they get an award letter to say you've been granted this award. And then to sit down and say, well, okay, what's it gonna cost us? I think we ought to have a conversation with Joni or whoever to say, okay, what's the $8,000 for economic development? Who's paying that? Is that coming out of the grant?
Right.
It's listed as a match. Who's coming up with that match? I'd be surprised if maybe economic development's already said we'll match $8,000. I don't
I don't
know.
know either. I don't know
It's
the
in
answer.
kind, so it's not cash.
But that's what we need before October when we start setting the budget up.
Right, well, yeah, so we'll know.
July.
I don't know when we'll know. Yeah, we'll know probably June about whether or not we get it or so.
And then we can work, like Tom was saying, what our expected costs to be when we get it or when we get it. If above what we're gonna do.
Well, yeah, I don't mean to be a pain in the butt, but are we gonna continue this relationship with the Unicorn Ranch or not? If we're bailing this stuff?
That would kind of go
By
away.
that time, if we're taking care of that, I think then
We're taking care of it.
we throw it on a trailer and.
Yeah, we will.
If we
take care of it.
compact it, we haul it. That's our
She's
money.
got $10,000 of an in-kind match for the horse trailers.
See, I don't know because, you know, I had a conversation with her, Joni, and I told her that if anything, they were thinking about setting recycling units in town, you know, and that this county employee would be taking care of that. And I told her, no. Everything that comes through the landfill gate will be taken care of by the landfill employee who's doing the recyclable. If anybody else wants to bring a trailer load of stuff out there, they're welcome. But
Why don't we,
the county,
why don't we put a plan together at some point
Yeah.
and bring it in rather than trying to ad hoc it now because we're running a
Sure,
little late.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's a great thing to do way before we get even, whenever it makes sense, but especially before the middle of July when we start doing some preliminary budget stuff, seeing what's going on.
Do you know what a Gaylord is?
Hmm.
I don't either. She's got
I haven't seen
15
this yet.
Gaylords.
Nobody sent that to me, so I don't know.
What 15 Gaylords in what context? Drinking?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So I'll ask her to send this to me. And I'll talk to her.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Well, I
Thanks.
can send you this whole,
Is Gary out there?
Yes, he is.
I can forward you this email, but
Good
I
job.
suspect we ought to sit down with Joni at some point as BOCC and have a
We
conversation.
have a workshop or if we can schedule it for a meeting that we don't, and if it's light, we'll do it in the meeting.
Email,
Sure.
I don't know what old landfill.
Landfill.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good. Thank you guys.
See you later.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Well,
Gary.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing,
You
Gary?
Pretty good.
want to take over landfill recycling for us?
Just what he wants to hear.
Was you guys talking about Gaylords and what
Yeah, what's a Gaylord?
all it is a big thick cardboard box that holds recyclable materials. It sits on a pallet and that way you can transfer it
Oh, I
around.
see.
with the
with the
forklift.
cardboard.
I don't know how they come up with that name, but that's all it is. It's just.
Must have been a company that made them a long time.
I guess.
Vital need to know information.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you have educated us.
Yeah, thank you.
I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Thank you for this.
Yeah, feel free to, and he's the one I've been talking to that said he was about 99% sure that them and KRDO would take over that equipment.
Sweet.
So,
Thank you, Lord.
yeah, I went to Brighton with it yesterday and got it checked out because KKTV has still not got very good reception. Yet on a scale of 0 to 100%, if you can get 54 or 60% out, you're doing real good. And we're only
Fuzzy, hey, as a snowy like the old.
yeah, it's almost like a direct TV dish that's getting rained on really hard. You know how your signal
In and
gets
out.
kind of, in and out, sketchy.
So what percent we at now?
14. And they can see it, but it's not real fun to watch because it's annoying because and he told the guy I went and talked to yesterday, Jim in Brighton, was the one that initially put this equipment in 2012. And he checked it out and he seems to think we've got receiving antennas, one for each television station, and then we got 3 distribution antennas, if you want to. Yeah, transmitting antennas. And anyway, he thinks that coax cable going to the transmitting antennas is bad. Like it's got a bad connection, it's getting moisture in it or something like that.
Sounds like it.
But if you try and go any higher than the 14% on your gain, then it trips a reset on the equipment.
That's a problem.
Yeah, so the coax cable, I think, needs to be replaced, but you just have to check into finding somebody to do that.
That's Kevin's problem.
Can I have your phone number so that when they call me, I'll try to
Refer him to.
This is a guy you need to talk to.
Well, until I get these guys to agree, it's still in your slap.
But we did have a motion to authorize county to move forward with negotiations to
Yeah, we were.
transfer ownership of that equipment and responsibility to the 2 stations.
Well, I think that'd be a good deal to turn it over to the television stations. And
Oh, you got to worry about grading the road once in a while.
And I'd be glad to do that in trade to not have to
Great
maintain
trade, but
it. Yeah, it would be.
yeah, well, this gets this would be interstate attention because I've gotten a phone call from Arizona about the quality of the TV reception off of those 2 towers.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty powerful transmitter if it's going all the way.
Pretty cranky about not getting TV at their house.
Oh, yeah. They come across like we
Mystifies
don't.
me, yeah.
Like we don't
Well,
have
they're
anything better
entitled
to
to
do.
it by the darn public law, fortunately.
Yeah, maybe we can get something resolved.
Maybe we should provide bag phones too.
Yeah.
Or string phone. All right, what else you got?
I've got an old pickup I'd like to get rid of. It's an old Ford pickup. And,
Is this?
What year do you know?
I'm not sure. I was going to ask
82,
Byron.
looks like.
It's in the 80s. But anyway, it's got some issues and it's really not worth putting money into.
What's it been doing?
Well, it's got a strange noise that we can't locate for one thing. And then, as far as it runs good, it's just a lot of the chassis parts are worn out on it, ball joints and things like that. And instead of putting a bunch of money in a pickup that's worth far less than what it would cost to
Is there any
repair.
blue book value on
Not much.
How many miles?
This one's got, I think it's 289 or somewhere around in there.
Looks pretty familiar. I think maybe it might have spent some time in Wetmore.
It probably did. The last one we sold like this, it brought like $500.
So what do you want to do? Sell a
Yeah.
private treaty? Just put an ad in and see if somebody wants to buy it, or put a
Best
sale
offer.
sign on it, or?
Well, I was just going to offer it for sealed bids like we did the
Okay.
last one. That seems to be the best. And if they didn't bring at least $500, I've got some other ways to get rid of it, like Purple Wave Auction. They're an online auction company that'll come in, take pictures, post it.
Speak
And
up.
for-
Well, like it's got the high signs. They're listening to you,
Like
Gary.
this one?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the Purple Wave for government agencies, they don't charge anything to sell something, so. And they usually get top dollar for something like that.
That's
Yeah, I don't have a
Good,
problem with that.
a good school project truck or a kid's first vehicle or something.
Oh, yeah.
Worth a little money.
Mhm. Yeah, I wouldn't take it cross country, but just piddling around the county would be all right. And then there's this old van. We've still got that. We've had
Still sitting
that.
out there.
Yeah, we've had that.
When I
for-
saw it, I was wondering, what the heck are you gonna do?
Well, this is, I don't know where that came from, Tom. Do you know?
I don't,
I think it originally was a sheriff's office vehicle.
Might have been, probably was.
it's
What
been-
year is it?
Yeah, that I couldn't tell you
There's
either.
no cage or anything in it currently.
No, it's been stripped down.
Yeah, and I don't know if they cleaned out a sheriff's vehicle for a potential van to be used for human services or.
That's what that was going to be used for. But it's got a rear main seal leaking on it and it's got some other issues. So
We don't need it.
it's, yeah, it's really not real reliable.
Chevy,
Is that a Chevy?
Yeah, it's a Chevy Astro van.
and you're gonna do the same thing with that.
Yeah, if you're okay with it.
No reason why not, it's your call.
I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, it's not, I mean, it came from the sheriff's office, but it's just been sitting there. So we might as well, if we're not going to use it, we might as well.
Let
do
it
something.
rot.
Yeah.
Who actually holds the titles? I mean, does Darby have them? Does Kelly have them?
Kelly.
Kelly's got
Kelly does.
Kelly's got all of our titles.
Yeah. And the sheriff.
Mhm.
So that goes sealed bid as well.
Yeah. Mhm. It is an all-wheel drive, so I think somebody could get some use out of it.
Yeah, good.
Oh, and then,
Any, other than the rear seal, any issues with it?
yeah, there's a couple more that Byron mentioned, but it was long enough ago that I don't recall.
Not something we want to keep and swap out that vehicle with public health or.
No, it's not. I don't think I'd want to send anybody
Yeah.
down the hill in it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I sure don't
around.
have a problem disposing of them.
Okay. So I contacted Bill the other day and I've got a meeting on the afternoon of March 17th with Jeff and some other members of the Forest Service. We need to go over our contracts and renew them. So,
Then we'll bring it to the board and see what we got, huh? See what we can come up with.
yeah, it's going to be pretty basic. It'll just be a matter of renewing them.
A little less road.
What's that?
There's a little less road in there has been worry about because of the washout, right?
No.
It's the same.
Well, yeah, we don't have to maintain South Hardscrabble, a portion of it anymore, about 4 miles or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Other than that, it's similar.
yeah. Did you happen to make it to South Hardscrabble yesterday?
No, I didn't know if they were up in there. He didn't answer the radio. I was gonna go look if they were up there, but
Yeah, I need to get down there and look. I think they're about done with that. They're pretty close.
so they're doing a project on a couple of washes in the section that got reopened.
Down south, or the east end.
Forcer.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's the east 2 miles of 386 South Hardscrabble that we maintain.
Mhm.
That's not Forest Service.
Up to the rock barrier.
Where they stop.
Mhm. Yeah, when we had some big rains down there, it redirected the creek channel over against the roadway and started washing the road out. So we had to take a dozer down there and remove some trees and realign the creek and then replace the material that got washed away.
We approved opening that road from the east, right?
Yeah, and that's,
Is gate open now, I wonder? or not?
Mhm. It's just certain times.
Yeah.
During hunt season mainly.
So I got a quick question for
Sure.
you, Gary. I had been in contact with the 4-H program for shooting sports traps that they're putting out by the, where the landfill or the gravel pit the county has, and behind it, down there where the sheriff has his shooting range. You familiar with where that is?
Mhm.
And I volunteered to cut the box for the hut that they're gonna do, to pour some concrete pad. But they need they need some blade work down there to level out the bottom before they start doing anything. Maybe before it, it's in I don't think it's all that frozen because there's not a lot of moisture in there, but there is enough probably. Maybe if you get a chance, we can blade that at some point. Because you're up at the top there to open that up for the sheriff and the box that they're trying to put in by for the shooting trap sports for the 4-H.
Yeah, can somebody reach out and get a hold of me and then I can meet him?
Todd Byerly is the guy that's sort of the chief. He and Jerry trace well.
All right.
All the specs for that project right behind
Do you?
in that notebook.
You know, the dimensions of the box. They were gonna go stake that.
Trap field, all of it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, if they can get a hold of me,
Okay,
I'll.
I'll have you.
Um,
Okay, what else you got?
Our fuel system is giving us problems out there at the shop. And we've got a wireless system in place right now. And there's been a lot of issues with it in the past, and they're getting to be more and more issues with it. And then our pumps are old and they're failing on us. So Byron's getting some numbers on what it would cost to replace that system. And it's not going to be cheap. So that might be something to use. We didn't budget for anything like that, but being it's given us so many issues that it might be something we might want to spend some of our fund balance on.
Any chance working with Lynn Butler or somebody to get, they just replaced their tanks, so we're probably out of cycle, but.
For a pump?
I said tanks, I meant pumps, yeah.
Yeah. As far as
Replacing ours with the ones they just took out.
Those pumps are pretty unreliable though. That they were on and off again.
theirs were, you mean?
Yeah, they were slow. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's worth looking at
Yeah.
for now. They probably, you think they traded them, Tom?
I suppose they have a contract with some company, I don't know. But we don't, in my opinion anyway, we don't need the same features that they have at these retail gas pumps necessarily, as long as they're
Right. As
functional.
long as the motor works.
That's all we need is functionality. Byron did check into pumps and they're nearly 15,000 each for new pumps. But we want to go into a hardwire system, get a hardwire system, and that'll help us eliminate some of the problems we're having too. So
Now, do you have to have something that is compatible with your key card system now then too, correct? Or does that matter on the pump?
well, I'd have to ask Byron. In my mind, it probably wouldn't matter. I think it would be compatible with the key card system.
But they're not swiping cards now, right? That's just a keypad.
Well,
It logs who gets where the fuel goes, doesn't
yeah, we've got a keyed system.
Right.
A special key.
But you don't have to have a card,
No.
it's just a key.
The key does the same thing as the cards. It tracks the fuel and where it
Where
goes,
it went,
like the
yeah.
sheriff's office if they.
Right.
it? Yeah, that's the point.
Mhm.
So wiring in a new pump wouldn't change that necessarily.
No, I don't think so. I think the pumps would be compatible with the key card system. So,
Yeah, I was down there the other day with sheriff trying to fuel a vehicle, and it's a challenge.
it's especially difficult in the wintertime. We have more problems in the wintertime with the electronics of that system. And it's the old pumps that are tripping resets and stuff like that.
Would you say that was per pump?
It was like almost 15,000. And then for the rest of the system, it's probably, well, I'm waiting on some numbers from Byron to find that out.
Okay.
So you'd be doing pumps and then the hardwired. So you got actually 2 or 3 things that you're actually doing besides just, or a couple things besides just the pumps. Then.
Yeah, we'd have to trench in some wiring and other things. It's not going to be a fun project, but it's no worse than a water line, I guess.
I didn't agree with that.
That was a bigger bucket of worms than we thought, wasn't it?
Yeah. He got done. That's all I got, I think.
Okay,
I got a question for Gary.
go.
Uh-oh.
It's always personal for me. Where Knoll Top Circle intersects with 255, that guy with the driveway that just funnels all the water and everything down and washes out a gully right across it.
Yeah.
You want to do something? You want to sue him?
We did that, we did that, we'd have to do about 200 more. Because there's a lot.
There's a pothole there that's swallowing small cars right now. You filled it, you fixed it once and it's already back.
It's
again.
not, no, because of the water runoff.
Yeah.
You need a
it's-
bunch of rocks in
He
it.
put that driveway in and, I mean,
Tire
it's
out.
steep and it comes right down there. And when it rains or just the snow melt we had came down and washed everything out again, so.
I'll have to take a look at that. Man, I hate those driveways like that. Because there's not a lot to,
They can't turn it down the road anywhere.
not
Maybe put
really.
a culvert or something underneath there to, maybe channel it off away.
I'll go check that out and see if I can come up with a solution. Because-
And then could you pave it all the way to?
That's what I-
Oh, there's the more.
That's what I was waiting on more than anything.
That 7 years I've been county attorney just for trying to get my.
You'll find out you lose less power.
That's not.
If you get elected as commissioner, then you get perfect road maintenance.
Well, I-
Well, we're the last on the list.
I've got to ignore my road because I don't want people to think I'm playing favorites to myself.
Well, Hermit's holding up with that mag chloride, it's,
Yeah.
it's a little bumpy, but it's darn sure not washboardy. We haven't seen a washboard on there since that mag tree.
Yeah, we haven't had to touch it since the mag got put on it. Other than keeping it snow.
Keep the surplus budget in mind to be used on the right thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm already getting bids on that stuff.
All right, well, we need to move on.
Okay, I don't have anything
Tim,
else.
let's, if we can, unless you guys want to take a break, let's try Laura first and then take it if you're good with that.
Thanks, Gary.
Laura, out to you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I haven't
Gary.
seen her yet.
No.
Wouldn't you know, maybe we ought to take a break then. Okay, we'll wait. Thank you.
Nancy, can you call? Did you try to call her? She didn't answer.
She was out hanging around somewhere. Well, there she is.
No, I'm right
I
here.
thought you went to the store.
No. No, if I'm gonna go someplace, it's not gonna be to the store. It's a better place
It's a highlight in West.
someplace better to go than the store. No, no.
All right, anything good to tell us, or are you just gonna say hi and goodbye today?
Well, I'm gonna say hi and goodbye, but I also have this contract that I need signed. You guys should have got a copy. You got it right there. And it's just a bookkeeping contract that I have with John Burkett.
Got it? It looks
I
like,
saw it on the email.
Yeah, and I have this one. This is the original, if you want to sign that one.
Assuming 250 times 12 is 3,000.
Yes, it is. I did it. I hope so. That don't mean, that doesn't mean anything.
That was your attempt.
That was my attempt at it.
I got it.
so do we need to vote on this, guys? It's got chairman, member.
I think absolutely, because it's a
Yeah,
contract.
it's a contract. We gotta work here.
Fiscal.
I did look it over. It's, it didn't change.
No, it did not change. I should have had this done before, but that's about the time I was sick, and so kind of just went off. So,
Is John willing to keep doing this?
oh yeah, I mean,
Signed it.
yeah, he signed it. He signed it.
But he didn't date it.
Well,
That
No,
was
he-
probably for us.
yeah, no, he didn't date it, but no, he signed it. No problem. I wouldn't have brought it in here if he hadn't signed it.
All right, I move we accept this and sign the contract with John Paquette for the human source services.
Is this retroactive to January? Is this
It's
for 20?
effective,
Yeah, yes, it is.
1 January. It just says first day of January.
First day of January 2021.
Doesn't say when it's going to end.
12 months.
Ending, it does say 31. It is 12 months.
For the calendar year of 2021.
Seconds on that.
I would second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, accept the contract as presented by Laura. Any discussion before we move on?
I have none.
None here.
Hearing none, I call for the vote. Commissioner Flower,
Aye.
he hesitated. Commissioner Day,
Aye.
and aye. Okay, I'll sign it and I'll pass it on.
Okay, that'd be dandy.
Okay, what else you got there, Laura?
I just have my normal,
I'm assuming that needs to go to Kelly.
Yes.
Kelly will need a copy.
I'll make a copy of it.
All contracts are going to Kelly.
Yeah, I'll make a copy of it and send it to, or take it to Kelly.
I can make a
I'll
copy.
give you the page here and put on.
Oh, okay.
He signs it and then you can take it back in a minute.
Okay. And then I just have my normal budget.
Good stuff.
My good stuff, and it's starting in January, so, we don't have much
We're
going.
getting some done.
Did we need to go ahead and date that?
Yeah,
Shut it.
yeah, she made it, and then that goes with it. Okay. So since starting in January, there's no big surprises on this thing at all on the front one. And then same with like the big pension, it's just showing what we've done this month and the leap. And the leap was weird because it starts in November, but it's just showing what we have, how many cases and stuff that we have done so far. And then the energy outreach grant is another one that starts in September or October, so it looks funky on here.
Mine was November, so I just had a curiosity.
Oh, it's just,
Is that what normally happens?
which one?
On the leap?
Leaf, that was our first payment for the year 2020, 2021. So that was our first round of payments that went out. So we start taking applications in October.
I see.
So that's October and November. And now next month, you're going to see a lot because February is when it does its second payment to some of the people that got it in November and December and January. So that will be a huge one too. You'll see a lot going on with that.
And that's including like the propane and things of that nature.
Propane, electric, wood, any type of heating, anything they use to heat with. Pellets, we can do pellets, anything that we use.
Phone book.
No, we don't have that one.
You don't use phone book?
No, because you have to get those from a vendor.
Oh.
And I don't think, you're not a vendor and we want to get rid of your phone books and they can work for me. That's all I'm saying right there.
You ever tried to burn a phone book?
Well, no, because
Oh my
they
God.
just sit there because they're so
it burns
thick. They
about the
can't,
First 4 pages.
you got to rip them up.
Of the Denver phone book.
Yeah.
My days of tearing telephone books apart are long gone.
Done.
I used to
Used to do it. but not
Chinese.
anymore.
We have, I don't know if we still, I'm sure we do. We still have phone books from 1950 in our office from West Cliff.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we kept them. They're this thick.
Wow.
This
Back in the
thick.
good old days.
Back in the good old days. We kept them. We're not getting rid of those. Those things are
Historic.
historic.
Can't
and-
even find a phone book in this office.
Oh, well, pretty soon there'll be like 40 of them coming out or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Coldale will have their own.
I missed the yellow pages too.
Yeah, I know. Okay, anyhow, we're to Energy Outreach Colorado and we're doing fine there. Medicaid transportation is just a pass through and we did 7 payments to different people for Medicaid transportation in January. And then the food assistance, that's just showing. And food assistance, we're still doing maximum benefits to every household. And that will continue for a while. They're looking at it on 90-day increments if they're going to continue that.
Yeah.
So that is still going on. So there's high dollars showing there. I mean, there's no county dollars attached to it, but it shows a lot on that.
Households are what we show there, 250.
256. Mhm.
Right, yeah.
Yep. And then The next one is the TFAB, and I got rid of that big bulky one that we had where we talked about how many pounds and all that. So we just, took us a while to get this thing to format it the way we wanted to, but we got it. So it shows 24 households, and we served 50 individuals for TFAB in January. So that's just what that's showing.
Yeah, that's a lot better draft. Right?
Well, it's a lot easier to see it. The thing that's not on here, which you don't have, is the community service block grant. And I did not put that on there right now because it is very, she told me we could go through, we did the end of the year report. So, but then she brought it to me, I could do January and the year end report. So now I'm not sure where I'm supposed to start with the money. Oh, Judy Gilkerson with Upper Arkansas Council of Governments. They run this grant, and then they do the grant, and us in Park and Fremont, I think, are the only ones that have this grant. Anyhow, so she does she has to send all this stuff in. And so she told me, I want you to run it through January 31st, which I did. And we still have a little bit of money. So I don't know how she wants me to do that. So I'm waiting to get it, and then I'll get it next month. It's just showing we're almost out of grant money. I only have $660 left at the end of January for that. And I use that for rentals. I use it for heating. I use it for dental. I can use it for prescriptions. I can use it for a lot of flexibility. We got 10,000 and something, and I'm almost out of it. So, and then I got some COVID money with her there again. I still have some. She told me I could keep it. I'm just not sure how she wants me to show that. So I'm just going to wait and get an answer from her. She's been busy because she has to get all that grant thing sent off. So I didn't want to bother her. Besides that, she works from home a lot, and I never can get a hold of her. So anyhow, it's just an informative thing since there's no county dollars, but we do spend time doing that. So yeah, we spend getting that final thing. I spend over 3 hours trying to do that. It's got demographics for everything you could possibly imagine. And you have to go through every application, and there's probably 10 different demographics that you have to get off. So we spend a lot of time doing that, but it's a good program. And so we want to make sure. I got my 2 new hires. We got them hired. They're coming on board. One's coming in on Monday. The caseworker's coming in on Monday. The child support worker will come in on the 15th.
Wow.
So now we're trying.
You know, or
no, the caseworker you're not going to know. She transferred here from Arapahoe County. Her parents have been coming here for a long, long time.
Retired, their parents didn't.
No, her parents are not here. Her brother owns some property here, but she saw the ad and she wanted to come on down, so she did. And yeah, she's ready to go. All we got to do is we've got to switch some stuff over. She doesn't have to train. We don't have to do any of that. So that's just really great. And she's just, I think, a little over the large counties and everything that goes on there. And so she was just all excited about this. So anyhow, she's coming on board on Monday, and so we're going to get that worked out. And then the other gal's name is Vicky Warren. She's working at Family Dollar right now. She used to work with DHS in Alaska. So she's got a little bit of an experience here with that. So she'll be coming on board on the 15th.
Deal.
Okay, now we're just moving stuff around again. Yeah, we got to move stuff around again, but we're getting that done. We're hoping we can get Brennan or Jordan over today. We want to, because we have to move these computers in, so we want to make sure we're doing that right. So we're going to get one of those guys to
So
do
you
it.
had a problem with the windows or something still or not?
The windows?
Yeah, ventilation.
No,
You're okay in there now.
we're okay. We're okay as good as we can be. No, we're fine.
You're gonna have more people breathing in there now.
No, well, we're okay with that.
Okay.
We just won't breathe sometimes. Okay, how'd that be?
Take turns.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's
Good
all I
job.
have.
Mr. Sher-
Thank you.
Good report.
Get out of here so you guys can continue on.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on your hire.
Guinevere's here. It's Guinevere time.
Yay. How are you, gentlemen?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, we got your report.
Great.
So what's new?
Oh, 4-H is taking over upstairs.
They're just blasting everything.
Yeah, so that's that time of the year, just trying to get everything ready for 4-H year. We've had a couple meetings already, and so that's exciting. One of the things I didn't put on here, but we're putting together a council, which is to replace the old foundation. As you know, 4-H is a 501c3, and this is that proper process to make sure that our money goes to 4-H, is then goes to CSU, and all that accounting is straight with the IRS. So that's one of the things I've been working on, and we'll see some more.
So how come we haven't done it before?
Well,
Was by law it needed to be done or by
Yeah,
CSU requirement?
so the old foundation, that was that purpose, and then there was an IRS change, and they needed so it was a bunch of just things in place that happened and changes with the IRS
But
requirements.
you got time to do it before this tax year's, or is it for 2020?
Yep. We're just waiting on an EIN right
Good.
now. So that's where we're at in that process, and we'll have elections next month. 4-H kids will be mostly in charge of that, and I'm pretty excited. It provides another leadership opportunity for them. So most of my report is pretty 4-H heavy. We did have the steer weigh-in, and our brand inspector was there and said we had more steer projects than Fremont County.
Yeah,
That's
So,
unbelievable, because one year there was only one steer. wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Not since I've been here, but I've heard
They
rumor.
had to push hard.
Yeah,
Any of them doing the program where they're getting a loan to do that?
not that I've heard. Pretty much they buy them in November, and so
They didn't get the grant that we used to, or that used to have. I guess it still exists.
yep, the Cattle Women Grant. Yeah, none of them took advantage of that this year.
Good.
So we have one breeding project, which is pretty interesting. So that'll be kind of cool to see at fair. We're working with other counties to create as much programming as possible. We're still kind of in that, are we doing face-to-face or are we not kind of weirdness with 4-H? So we're doing this camp in a box, and we were working with a couple counties adjacent to ours to put those together. So that's really exciting. And I just checked, we have 5 orders.
Good.
So I figure anything around 10 is good, but we still have time. Friday's the deadline for that. We have an All My Money class that's going to happen. That's going to be mostly led by the extension agent out of Pueblo, but we're going to support them as much as possible.
It'll be up here
It'll be on Zoom.
on Zoom.
Yeah. We, depending on how many people in Custer register for that, because I think everybody's zoomed out, we may try to do one in person.
You ought to try it. That's the right.
Yeah. But that's once we get kind of the okay from CSU to start moving that direction. We had this really cool egg drop challenge, and I really had a lot of fun with that. And I put a video on Facebook if you guys are interested in that. And the kiddos designed these things to make sure eggs didn't break when we dropped them. And there was a lot of Mars rover inspiration. So it was really cool to take them from like initiating the idea to working with them to work through issues and then execute.
What
the
age
project.
group? Just a little berry?
There was only 3 kids who participated, so it was 8 to 12, I think.
They all successful?
One lost on the first go around, and then the other 2, we got to the highest height, and one of them broke, and
So one made it through.
yeah, all the way. So it was pretty fun. It was the most fun I've had so far this year.
Where'd you do that at?
The Saddle Club, they let us come put it on their various size grandstands. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you did it outdoors.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cold.
The eggs were frozen. Help
No,
them survive.
right? Maybe that's why. I don't know. Yeah,
That or you gotta boil them.
yeah. I supplied the eggs. I knew they were
They were
fresh.
so good.
Yeah, I double checked them. We continue to work on the needs assessment, and we're looking at doing some interviews with people. So I've been working with my advisory board to try to identify those people in the community who can kind of give us ideas about needs in the community, and through Extension's mission, how we can address those through education and things like that.
Good.
I have performance appraisal, the county budgeting process. So once Kelly gives us a copy or me a copy, I send that along with like an accounting record last year. So that was something I was working through. The needs assessment probably won't be done till the end of June, so I'll probably talk about that till then with you guys. Along with 4-H, kind of trying to figure out if MQA and shooting sports safety will be in person or online, but those are requirements for those 4-H projects. So just trying to figure that out. We don't have that many kids who need to take MQA, so we'll see. And then shooting sports, I'm working with the leaders on that. So other things coming up, a citizens water course, the weed tour with the weed board, and maybe even a private applicators workshop. And then been working with some county partners on a wildfire mitigation workshop. So lots of things in the works, just hoping COVID doesn't put the brakes on all of our best laid plans. So that's all I have for right now. If you guys have any questions.
That's really pretty good. That's doing a lot.
It feels like it.
I'm assuming we're in a holding pattern on the bill request.
Yep. So we have been, I had Adrian review kind of my idea of how would you guys create a standardized way to advertise for that money and then evaluate projects? And he gave me some feedback, so I haven't gotten a final draft, but I would love to present that whenever Adrian feels like it's ready, or you guys want to come and workshop it or whatever. I'm fine with that. But yeah, once you guys get that money, then it's a 45-day notification, and then you can start soliciting projects. So I don't know when that happens. So unless you guys know.
Varies.
Okay.
You still have a desk up there if Reggie
Yep.
Foster wants to borrow it.
Yep.
You talk to her a little bit more about it.
Yeah, she can come up there. Our AmeriCorps person's desk, who is no longer there, she left in the beginning of the year. We just have a desk for her and a laptop if they need, but you guys probably do.
They're a laptop short. You got it figured out.
Repurposed one and gave it.
Oh, you did find one. Okay, good.
I feel like I'm allergic
You okay?
to down here.
Allergic to work. This is work.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not
For her-
fun.
for her it is.
This is fun.
Maybe
Getting out of my office.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, thanks for offering your space upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to decide what we're gonna do. But,
Good deal.
all right, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, wow, throwing stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yep, have a great day.
You too, thanks. Yeah.
And we don't have a planning and zoning, I don't think.
Report. No, I said no report.
So we're at a point where we could take a quick break if you want, before we get into the rest. How about 5 minutes, huh?
No objection here.
Okay, let's go. Okay, we're back after a quick break, 10:30 or 10:27 now. We'll continue. And this is on the agenda is unfinished business. I don't think we have anybody have any unfinished. Kevin?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll press on. This new business, just for everybody that's new is, and I don't think there's anybody new, will allow public comment on each item that we may vote for. And the first one out of the chalks today is consideration of CCT microwave and fiber connections. So Vernon, you want to talk about why this is on?
Okay, good morning all. So been talking with Chip here from Colorado Central Telecom, and he has a proposal for us that will increase our internet capabilities, our redundancies, and benefit us in mutual ways. Basically, the gist of it is that we're going to tie into some fiber down in the basement through CenturyLink, not into ours, but through CenturyLink, and create a relay tower for Colorado Central Telecom on the roof that will communicate and create redundancy for the CCOM, what used to be CCOM, but is now Central Colorado Telecom here in the valley.
Pointed where?
To multiple towers, multiple locations. It'll basically be a central hub, a centralized hub for backup.
Meaning county locations or what?
Their locations, but we will talk about an access for county itself, the county entities themselves.
Because that's the curiosity is why are we doing this as a county?
Okay, because we have a centralized hub in the basement, we'll be able to use some of their stuff for backups and redundancies for our communications, as well as basically making the Central Colorado Telecom more robust for people for the community itself. That was the thought process there. And
it's all on their dime.
Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. Not on our dime.
Okay.
Basically, what this is it's a permission-seeking meeting to pursue the steps necessary. There's going to be a little bit of engineering work to make sure that everything's going to be supported correctly. But basically, just to approve the process to move forward. Chip can explain it really well what they're looking at, but I do actually support this.
Okay, good. Well, why don't you
okay.
Before.
The one thing that we didn't know when we were in the process of purchasing CCOM, they call it the West Side Area Network, was that there was a fiber access point in this county courthouse that's different than the CenturyLink local fiber. So this is a dedicated fiber that goes from here to Denver with no in-between off-ramps. It's called a carrier long haul connection, and it's accessible at this building in the basement.
How big?
For us, it's a 1 gig or a 10 gig connection. There's a single port. We'll probably start with the 1 gig because what we're looking at doing is taking a shot off of Lookout Mountain or Bunker Hill to the courthouse roof, and then taking a shot from the courthouse roof over to the Arley Tower, one to the Clay Tower, and one to a Southern Tower, because they're all constrained. The bandwidth is constrained. Right now they're on 500 meg connections. We can put gig links in all of these. And then what that does is it opens up a better off-ramp for the local customers off of those access point towers that are remote. Right now they're pretty constrained, and that's where we have a lot of the problems. As we've learned more and more about the network, we're finding more and more of the issues, and the issues were oversubscription, too many people hanging off the same APs, they've got congested zones. So we've got to break some of this stuff up. And by virtue of having the access to the fiber here, that actually gives us a fourth exit point out of this area. We'll have one to Methodist, one down south to Sheep Mountain, one through this fiber, and then another one through our connection into Levita via the current connection over at Lookout Mountain down to, it's another microwave shop that's a third party, Zayo actually owns it. So those 4 gigs then create a very robust, the county right now is only on 1.5. So this is a 2.5 times increase of the actual capacity. And that allows us to actually serve the population much better. But from a reliability standpoint, it gives us multiple access points to get out. And that's the key, so that you don't have one single point of failure.
So if it does fail, do you have a problem getting in? somewhere?
No, we've got the different paths
So
already.
that path will,
Yeah, it's just another path out, but it's on fiber, which everything else that we have is terrestrial microwave. So it's the one fiber connection out of the county so far.
doesn't take down those other towers.
Correct.
Really the point.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and what we do in Chaffey County and Lake County right now is where we have a central point license link. We typically try to triangulate that with either a non-licensed or a secondary license link to another site. So if one of those links goes down, then you've got a backup path too. So that's our general footprint. We've been doing this over in Chaffey for the last 9 years, and it seems to be pretty robust. The only problem you really have is when something like the main site, like if Lookout Mountain went down, that could be a problem because it ties to here and nowhere else other than Levita, but that's outside of the county. So but it's a two tower location. The county's got part of that and the AT&T's got part of it. We're on both now. So we've got the CCOM stuff on your side, and then we've got the Zayo stuff on the AT&T side. So we really are enabling two separate paths. But we had a tower collapse this year over in Chaffey County, and it took us down for 6 days. I mean, actually the wind broke it in half up on Mount Princeton High. So it was not a fun, it was a pretty
time to fix it.
Yeah, it was a really sketchy snow. We had to have 2 snowcats. We had to have a couple of ATVs with tracks to try to pull the steel up. Then we had to erect it. We had to actually pull up a forklift with a lift boom so that it would be able to lift the sections up. It was just a
Was
real
that
pain.
tower guy wired or was it?
No, it was
just
freestanding.
Freestanding
Yeah.
solid pole
Right.
like we got.
Yeah, these were hollow posts. The ones that we've replaced it with are now solid posts. So it's got about 20 times the wind loading capability that the old one did.
Buckle.
Yeah.
So you want to talk a little about equipment that would be proposed to go on the courthouse?
Yeah, so right now we look at for buildings like this are kind of, because of the flat roof, are perfect for what's called a non-penetrating roof mount. So there's a tripod that has flat areas out the side that you put concrete cinder blocks on to basically base hold that non-penetrating mount on a rubber mat so it doesn't damage the roof. And we've got several hospitals that we've done this to already or done this with in Leadville and in Chaffey County. Then you have a center pole that it's a galvanized stainless steel pole. We need a 10-footer to be able to have a high enough clearance point to see both Lookout and Arley and Clay and it's not Centennial. And this is just to clean things up for today. And we know that there are other things happening with the county and your own towers potentially. But this gets us out of the gates and gets some of the networking problems taken care of faster. And then we put, the dishes are typically about that big. I think I sent a copy and a picture. Yeah. So with those, that's the non-penetrating mount. And then should be a picture of a pole attached, maybe, there you go. No, there's another one.
This guy here.
Here, I'll,
That's your map.
Map at the bottom, I don't see it.
I think in the email, I didn't see a picture of
okay,
your.
so this. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the
Well, we got it in the email.
okay, yeah, that's the look of the dishes. And then we have a wall mount equipment enclosure, which would be basically where we put our fiber connection right on the wooden backboard in the downstairs.
Down in the basement.
Yeah, exactly, in the basement. And then from that point, we would actually go up and out over to using a telephone aerial line and drop an enclosure, which is kind of the last
Bottom one there.
bottom.
Tan box.
Yeah, the tan box. That way, when we have an issue, we don't have to come in the building. So we try to make it.
So it's out the back door here somewhere?
So right out the back towards the east, there's the scale, and just south of the scale, there's a manhole, CenturyLink manhole, but there's the Black Hills Energy.
You put it on the back of the
poles.
scale house? Is that what you're gonna do?
No, we're just right in the right of way.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. It's just, we put it on a pad and basically pipe into it through the top with an EMT coming off the pole.
Okay.
so that it's self-enclosed. We get power from the electric company.
Nobody's gonna run over it.
No, it won't be run over. And then we can access that from outside because our equipment will be in there. So the radios, the switches, the router will be here instead of in the basement.
So
That way when it's Sunday night, you don't have.
Right. And when something happens, we need to get immediate access. And since we've got a local technician here, he can do that.
Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
I was gonna say better location to be south of the scale house than over here next to the courthouse somewhere or.
It's actually right in the pole line that goes right kind of down the alley. So that's typically where the utilities want you to be so that you're in a common space. And then that way we know that we can get the power feed direct. And I've already got calls on the Black Hills so they can feed us.
CenturyLink is doing that connection. How you connect?
Oh, so we actually hire a third-party broker who arranges with CenturyLink to make the connection inside.
Okay.
Yeah, they do all their equipment. We hand them a cable and they plug it in basically, and then they put the circuit ID on it.
Go ahead, Ken. You get.
So the fiber coming out of the basement, it runs over to that manhole already, correct?
Right, but we won't even be using that. We're going to come in through the roof. There's an access path already. And then what we will do is go right in from the radios and we'll come in from our cabinet aerially to the same room.
Okay, you're talking about this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that way we don't have to disrupt what CenturyLink's already done with the county. It's a brand new connection. Yeah. So it makes it easy. We have to pay a one-time charge. If we upgrade, we have to pay a secondary one-time charge because they have to replace the optics. But at this point in time, we think at least for the next year or so until we kind of get our hands around some of the other things happening further north. I had a meeting with the Fremont County Commissioners yesterday, and they have a whole lot of interest in an expansion plan. So going from literally Democratic Mountain or Deer Mountain all the way over into Cotopaxi, Coaldale, over into Howard, and even Swissvale.
You're gonna get more than a gig.
It depends.
I'm gonna be mad.
Oh, no, they're not going to get more. That's about the limitation on the radio anyway. So we're at the max in today's technology and the distances that we have. A gig's about as much as you can shoot. And some of these shots will be pretty long, but we have identified some towers over there. They have what's considered to be a completely unserved area in that Highway 50 corridor. And so currently we serve part of Fremont County off of Deer and Democratic, but it's a small pocket. It doesn't even go all the way down into Cotopaxi because of the train.
Train's pretty bad.
Yeah. And the fiber that actually goes to Denver, actually, I drove out yesterday. I was able to identify it. It actually goes down 115 all the way through Canyon City and all the way back to Denver. And it's a hybrid aerial underground path. So they're on the poles coming out of Canyon City. And it looks to be probably, I would say, I don't know if it's a newer path than the path that goes to the central office here, which goes down 69 to County Road 1 to 50 and then over Slida.
Oh,
yeah.
And you were saying about 10 feet on the pole?
Yeah, it's about 10 feet from base bottom to the top.
How does this impact the tower project that's going on? Does it?
It doesn't at this point.
Does it impact, I mean, they're looking at you all as a wisp on top.
Yeah, potential lessee.
That's
right.
Impacted to the good or the bad?
This is a necessary element with or without those towers. When they come up, we have, you probably are aware, a lot of homeowners that have tower sites on their properties. And so the towers the county is going to erect would be separate commercial grade towers than our homeowner style towers, which are lower in height, typically have power issues.
Like the one that's out at Arling's, or?
Yeah, there's quite a few that are on solar and battery only, and those are our problems. Without line fed power, it takes 2 days worth of no sun or 3 days worth of snow, and they discharge 100%.
Wow.
And so you lose the entire sector. We have to dispatch somebody with a generator to go recharge all the batteries. It takes time. People are out probably between 3 to 8 hours, depending on the access to these sites. Some of them are a little challenging, a couple of hike-ins in the wintertime. Snowshoes, we've got a couple of sets of snowshoes that you can get part way up with an ATV on tracks, but you might not get to the top and you have to hike it in. So if you're having to pull anything on a sled, it can be a challenge. But commercial tower sites end up having much more higher reliability with backup power, and it you kind of get what you pay for. We purchased what would be considered a very entrepreneurial style startup on top of an acquisition by a electric utility who cleaned some things up, but they didn't clean everything up, and it's outside of their footprint. So their electric footprint is really what they try to maintain. I think their membership is the one voice that said, it's time to get out of this area and go back to where our members are, which is pretty much all Southeast Colorado.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Go ahead.
I'd like to see if Dale wants to weigh in
Yeah, I'm
on
gonna ask him if
it.
we're getting some public comment. But,
Sure.
Is that all right? We can make a motion and then do it or not. But Dale, you there?
I am.
You got any comments on the proposal?
The comments that I would make is, one, I'm aware of what CCT is proposing to you. We are supportive of what they're doing. I think you've heard me say on a number of times that the middle mile capacity of the former CCOM network is inadequate for the current user base. What Chip is presenting to you there is relief for that. He has kept us aware. We have excellent communications between CCT and those of us that are working the broadband issue. So in a summary, we support what they're doing and we hope that it is approved.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Vern?
Comment for the peanut gallery. One of the things that's plagued us for a very long time is the communications issues just in general in the valley. This would make our communication more robust. Right now, if someone cuts a fiber line in Penrose, we lose 90% of our internet connection. We also lose CCOM, which used to supply the county building before I switched over to fiber. So it does. So this backhaul capability will make everything significantly more robust. So just FYI.
Sounds good. It sounds good.
In theory, and someday we'll live in theory.
Well, the nice thing is it's on your dime and it must be good or you wouldn't be.
Yeah, in order to improve the customer experience and actually grow, our goal is to grow and get more customers actually. Our secondary motivator is that once we have the connection to the fiber here, it actually enables us an opportunity to start looking at doing fiber within the communities of Westcliff and Silvercliff to the home, instead of being fixed wireless. So we do that in Salida now. We do it in Chaffee County and the town of Buena Vista, and we do part in Lake County. Outside of Lake County, we've got a couple of subdivisions that we have hybridly fibered to the home and then connected with licensed microwave back. Our goal is to get a Sangre de Cristo fiber connection from Buena Vista all the way to Leadville on that end, and then that would allow us to then start to tie into more of the fiber to the home projects. In Salida, we are literally probably in the core of the city, 12 to 15 blocks worth of solid fiber to the home access, and we get fiber requests on an average about 10 to 15 a month versus about 30 to 40, sometimes even 50 to 60 fixed wireless connections. Primarily because the expansion growth is out of the cities and it's in the county population. So we can't get it there.
Have you talked to the mayors of Silvercliff and Westcliff?
Was at the town trustee meeting yesterday for Silvercliff. Yep. And explained to them kind of the same thing.
What was their feeling?
They're very happy to see it. In fact, a couple of people said they've already started to experience better service. We have a customer service team that is pretty aware of all the challenges.
CCOM former CCOM?
No, these are just
Customers.
ours. These are, former CCOM customers and our customer service. So we're in the last month of a 90-day transition period with CCOM's customer service going away. Anybody that calls them today gets forwarded to us, and then we handle it. And we have escalation path so that if somebody's not happy, they get pushed to the next level. And so you have almost an executive level voice capability. So, but they're seeing that the service is improving. That was step A. And our first primary goal, and B was to take care of some of the ongoing conversations and confusion around free services versus paid for services. There were a lot of barter trades out there. I've actually put 98% of all of those people who have sites under a written barter trade so that we could put them under our commercial general liability insurance policy, because that's pretty important since these are sites with power and, have lightning protection and, you never know what's going to happen. But, and then we have people climbing towers too. So that's another liability and we need to have that coverage. So we've taken the whole perspective as more of a professional. We want to be here a while. We don't want to come and go. So we're going to make it work. And CCOMs have been very good. I mean, they're helping us in a knowledge transfer of how to do some of the things that they have that were maybe not so normal for us, but very normal for an electric utility.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like a win-win to me.
We hope it is.
I would move to approve the request of Colorado Central Telecom for a non-penetrating rooftop mount system on the courthouse.
And I'll second that. Let's hear if there's any other discussion that would make sense. So let me open it up for discussion. Any comments, Kevin?
I think he covered just about everything I needed to.
Okay.
To hear on that.
Well, I think it's just an opportunity to develop a working relationship, be good partners with Colorado Central Telecom. Obviously, it's not just about this. It's about moving forward, relationship on the towers, if that comes to fruition. And I just think we need to be good partners. Yeah. It's certainly not going to hurt our residents of our county. It's going to do nothing but help them. So
any legal points at all hanging this on a building and tying into it?
I don't see anything at all.
From our point of view. Vernon, you got any other comments?
I don't have any other comments. Do we need some type of contract moving forward that we can?
Yes.
We can refer to?
Some kind of an MOU or agreement, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I thought we were just going to shake hands. I don't know why we need to.
Yeah.
You know how I love my bullet points.
And how about public comments? Any other comments out there? Anybody on out there?
Yes, Dale Mullins on out there.
Okay, we've heard from him already.
And Wilson Jarvis, or Jarvis Wilson.
Okay.
Wilson Jarvis.
I always get him backwards, but he'll answer to both.
Okay.
All right, any other comments? If not, I'll call for the vote now. How about that? Commissioner Flower?
Aye.
Mr. Day?
Aye.
Kanda, aye.
And of course, my assumption was a contract would be forthcoming.
Yep.
We didn't bother to include that, but.
I do have one question.
That's too late. We just ended it.
Separate topic.
You're done. No, go ahead.
We think we owe you guys some money for the CCOM presence at the Lookout Mountain site, but I'm not sure if it gets invoiced annually, and if so, where it's sent or was it sent? And if it was sent to
I don't know
CCOM.
if it was sent. Do you know anything about it?
I do. I invoice all the entities that have rental space on our towers. I can forward you the bill that CCOM just sent back to us.
Yep.
So if that is agreeable.
Yes. And I assume that's for this year, 2021?
But 2021, I bill at the end of the year.
So we bill in arrears.
Okay, so that's still CCOM.
So I'll communicate with CCOM about that then.
And let me know if you need me to call their CFO, because I've had to do this with several others.
Okay, we'll do.
See if you can collect twice.
Yeah, that's what we were planning on doing, but apparently somebody
spoiled that.
Yeah. So CCOM did send that back, huh?
Yes, I just received that back at the research center. So I hadn't had a chance to discuss it and find out the proper course of action. So now we do.
Yeah, I thought we were billing at the end of the year.
I usually bill in November.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
For pass, not,
Finish it up.
right.
yeah, not forward.
Because that's, we get the BLM bill.
Right.
And it's due in October. And so once I pay the BLM bill, then I bill
Part
the
that out to the
entities
other end.
for the costs.
That's what most people do. Yeah. Perfect.
was that whole process he just described did not come about easily, dealing with BLM and.
It's an adventure.
Yeah, it's been.
That's an understatement.
Process.
It's been
That and the Forest
been a
Service.
challenge, but yeah, so.
They can be fun to deal with.
Well, thanks for hanging in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Glad I was able to make it, and thank you for the support. We appreciate it.
I bet.
All right, sir, thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care.
We hope we don't see you again.
Yeah.
That's gonna be innocuous.
There you go.
So I would assume then, Chip, real quick, the contract and all that would probably be sent to.
Send to me, or, yeah.
Vern or
Vern.
Tina, I don't know. We ought to talk about that a little bit.
It's through Tina. Tina can receive it.
I would say we
Vern
ought
is
to
the guy
start
that
with
works it.
Tina,
Okay.
don't you?
Yeah.
Or do you think it should come directly to you?
I'm handling all the other contracts, so
They get it direct to you, that's fine.
it doesn't matter.
As long as we know, I'm good. with
Okay,
either
so-
one.
And then who would be signing?
The only
Yeah,
reason
we'll
Tina needs to
sign
be
it.
involved,
You'll get a copy, as will Kelly eventually.
because we're trying to get it straight with how we keep the recordings of all the contracts, so that we don't lose track of it. And it's nice, if she gets it, she logs it and she'll dog you.
Well, I'm good with
Either
Vern.
way.
Taking the
I'm
lead.
good with it too, because you've been
Well,
doing it.
Do you want me to prepare it? I mean, we do have a form.
Absolutely, and then we'll
Okay.
work with Clint.
Yeah.
And then
Get it to Tina.
Yeah.
we'll get it around to everybody then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Chip.
Thank you, guys. All right, take care.
As long as there's a provision, then I get free service.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, that's right.
the attorney's gonna want.
There you go. Guy wants free, he wants pavement, he
I'll be
wants
with your
a
house.
free internet. This
Well,
meeting might go into his demand.
This meeting might work out well for you today.
All right, any other items before we entertain some public comment again?
We do have the
You got Dr. Brown.
contract with
Oh, that's right. What am I saying?
Lutheran.
Out there.
I keep looking past that because you didn't have a number on it, so I've lost it. Anyway, come on in, Dr. Brown.
Thought I heard my name mentioned in vain.
No, it wasn't in vain. And we got the new contract that you gave a handout on, and we've got the old one that was sent as well.
Were these extras or was this yours?
No, those are what I brought.
So if you want, Dr. Brown, why don't you tell us what's up here, and then we'll,
Okay, you can sit up at the adult table.
or you can sit wherever.
No, I don't have my bib with me today, so. Basically, I found the previous contract had been kind of based upon a presumption that we would be using the facility, Lang Hall, more often than we actually did. And so it seemed like a waste of money to me to be paying for days that we're not using. So
Do you know how many dollars that is here forward that we would have spent?
oh, well, I can tell you every week, it was for $116 per day. And we were planning on having the Lang Hall, well, what Adrian had actually set up, for 4 days in the week. And to me, that comes out to a fairly tidy sum. And when we put it down to 4 days in the month, even though we're paying a little bit more, like $15, $14, $17, something like that more per day, when we're only using 1 day a week, that saves the county a fair amount of money. So that's why I said we should really be renegotiating.
Yeah, we were on the hook for $464 a week.
Yes, and this is about that 540 for the whole month.
4 days, 135.
Right.
And if you had to have another day because all of a sudden they actually delivered vaccine, can you get it for an extra day?
Right, yeah, then we can get it for an
At
extra
that
day.
same rate?
Yes, sir. So that was the basis for renegotiating.
And Lang Hall didn't have any issue, Rick Parent didn't. He signed it, right?
Yes, sir.
So this contract's valid through the end of March, it appears.
And the reason, and he will continue it for us, but the reason that I cut it off from there is we are getting quite a ways ahead as far as our vaccine and vaccinations. And so we're counting, like, as fast as we've progressed thus far, I don't see any reason to book us for a long ways out and have to be on the hook for some more money.
Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Like I say, if it's grant money, it's one thing. If it's our money, it's another thing. So
We don't know for sure on
about
that.
the grant thing.
Exactly. We'll be submitting these costs all under grant, but until it's actually signed off by somebody.
We could be on the hook, and this is a
We could be on the
good
hook.
cost savings if we were to be on the hook.
Yes, and it's cost savings for our state and federal people, even if they're on the hook.
Sure.
And we all pay it for taxes.
Kevin's got a question.
I was just gonna say, regardless of where the money's coming from, we need to be careful with it. It's not, there is no free money. There's not such a thing.
Sure there is. The federal government can just print it.
They just print it.
Federal government would beg to differ. Had you sent this hard copy electronically or no?
No, I did
Okay,
not.
so that's why. I didn't want to duplicate that. I couldn't remember, but
Now make it.
yeah, then we can get it in our file. So
Peggy, did I give you a copy? Okay, I thought I did.
Yeah, literally, I just put this together yesterday afternoon with Rick.
So I personally don't see that we need to approve it
I don't
because
think so. It's his
Dr.
job.
Brown signed it. And
No, it's nice to keep up and understand in case we had other issues and we needed some more space over there. It's nice to know. Thank you for keeping
And
us
we
up.
will not be billed if we cannot use it one Friday.
we don't have to pay for it, huh? Perfect.
It's a good deal.
So I got a question. Is there any advantage to getting one vaccine on top of another? Like if J&J comes out, can you do that on top of the Moderna you already got?
The suggestion from the CDC is that you do not.
Okay.
You are challenging,
Mother
is
Nature.
this okay if I can explain?
He asked the question. He's the lawyer.
Well, it's got nothing to really do with what is here. I've just got,
Basically,
pressing to make any money off this.
You sell shots.
that's a lawyer speaker. Anyway, basically, you cause a low-grade inflammation in the brain. And when you have these blood vessels leaking, like you do with inflammatory response, that means that some of the oxygen supply that we normally be getting to the various aspects, various areas of the brain, some of that isn't getting there. So it's called hypoxia. Every time you create a hypoxic environment for any sustained period of time at all, I'm not talking about just standing up really quickly, but I'm talking about
Altitude or something.
yeah, altitude or disease or head trauma, anything. This is not a good thing because those little cells start to die and say, well, I got millions of those things, so it won't bother me none. Wrong answer, because those don't come back. And so everything that you have to kind of create a new pathway around that died out portion of the brain, that takes time.
So that's what the second shot does. I mean, it's not dangerous in so much as it is, it compounds what you just said. It's another inflammation.
Just one more case, and it's necessary to create that autoimmune system response in the body so you don't get sick, or you don't get as sick. But still, it is serious.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Lawyers don't really have to worry about it. It affects the brain.
Oh, I see.
That's assuming you're not.
Glad you said that, so I didn't have to.
All right.
Is there anything else that you guys need?
I think we're good, Dr. Brown. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Tina, can we move on?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I didn't have any additional business. Anybody else?
Nope.
Done here.
All right. Any other public comments? Anybody left? Anybody lighten up?
Anybody lighting up?
Lighting.
other than-
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. We'll try that this time.
I would do that. I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, so be it. Tom, how do you?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. And Peggy, what are you gonna tell me?
Turn on your phone.
Yes. All right, turn her on.